At 8, I have Le'Veon Bell. I think he's due for a huge bounce back year this year. The optimism was so high, and he had a really terrible first 8 games, which is the chunk of your fantasy season. But that's because Sam Darnold had mono. He like the whole offense was messed up. He ends Le'Veon Bell with 3 games over 30 points. And on top of that, throughout the entire season, he did Adam Gase refused to throw him the ball. I would have to assume if he wants to keep his job, he's going to have to throw him the ball this year. And Le'Veon Bell, infuriatingly, got no touchdowns last year. You would have to figure that that's going to come up. And the Jets, we talk about who is Sam Darnold going to throw to, but they kind of have some sneaky good players on that offense. Chris Herndon at tight end is a really good young player. Jamison Crowder, we know, is steady. Rashad Perryman, who had a great year in Tampa. They had Denzel Mims, who was one of my favorite wide receivers coming out of the draft. All of that is going to help Le'Veon Bell perform next year. And so, you could there's plenty of reasons to be pessimistic about Le'Veon Bell, but I think that was his basement last year. And he still has a couple. I think he still has a couple years, especially if they throw him the ball. I think that was the biggest surprise last year, is that they just didn't throw him the ball. They have to change that this year.
I like the case for Le'Veon Bell as to have a bounce back. He's one of those that's the talent is just it was so visible for so many years that you think that he has it in him to replicate that success. And I really do blame a lot of the Jets' struggles early on the fact that Sam Darnold was either had mono or coming back from it and sick, and the quarterback play was absolutely horrendous, and there's not much they could do. I don't have him on my list. He did, despite having shown some flashes in the past, he looked a little slow. He did come on a little bit later in the season, but he wasn't the same guy I remember watching as a Steeler, and that's a little concerning because that's hard to come back from. He did have the year off. Who knows? I don't think he's in quite as good a shape as he used to be. So I have mixed feelings on Bell, but also I wouldn't be upset to have him. I think that he could be an RB1 for sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Bell, and you're right, he didn't show the burst. I don't know if he was given the opportunity to do that. One thing that I saw Le'Veon Bell last year was fight and determination, and that was a big question about him because he sat out a year and didn't, for contract reasons. People were wondering if he had, if he just didn't care about football. But he finished runs. And he laid out for passes. He played really hard. And so if he does that again, and then the offense shifts to give him an opportunity, we're in the back half of the top 12 running backs. So I think it's definitely worth a flyer at this point.
Definitely.
So number 10 is where I have Le'Veon Bell, and I have high hopes for him as well. Like you said, Matt, he finished the season very strong, and having Sam Darnold, he's not going to have mono again. So outside of some injury or something like that, the offense is going to have Sam Darnold there. Adding a guy like Mekhi Becton on the offensive line is only going to help in the running game because they really didn't have that big tackle there to kind of help, break some holes.
And an athletic tackle too that can move down
exactly. The guy's 340 pounds and he runs a sub 5 second 40.
Yeah.
So that's pretty solid. But Le'Veon Bell, just kind of based on his production last year, you just kind of saw him tail off. He's really kind of similar to Todd Gurley this year, where you both know those two guys are elite running backs. They have the potential to be those elite running backs. And why not take a shot on those guys? Because if you don't, they could bust you open for 16 touchdowns and you could have missed out on that.